same time every week. Don't gotta wait long for the next one to release. So don't go away, sit down, take a seat, enjoy Midweek Motivation with John and Carly. Hey.
Midweek Motivation.
Let's go.
I think we're live. There we go. It looks like it's right. Well, hey, welcome to the, can we say Blue Ridge Women's Center? Is it the Blue Ridge Women's Center yet?
Yeah.
And y'all might need to slide your mics just a hair closer to you. We'll see. But that's that. Hey, welcome to Midweek Motivation. I think we're live. My computer did this really cool thing in true Midweek Motivation fashion. So I got a new computer, right? So naturally I'm setting it up. And I didn't delete anything off of this computer yet because I knew I was coming to do this today. So I moved one set of folders, right? It was all there this morning, 9 o'clock this morning. I'm sitting in my living room on my couch, making sure everything's ready to go for midweek, right? Everything's there. Everything's perfect. And as soon as I got here, I opened my laptop to get it set up and nothing is there. And so it's been completely gone. So for the past hour, I've been rebuilding everything. Thanks to Carly for sending me everything. So we'll see how this goes. Exactly. And I muted Megan. There we go. Now I'm better. So welcome to Midweek Motivation. If you're hearing this, I think you're hearing it at all. We'll see. We are at the future site of the Blue Ridge Women's Center down here on Elm Avenue. What's the timeline for us opening down here?
So as early as next week, the contractor will want to start doing some demolition.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
They said it's a 6-month scope. And so probably maybe January. Praying.
Anybody that's ever talked to a contractor knows exactly what you're feeling right now.
Yeah.
Everybody that's ever been part of a building project, you know exactly that feeling. Things just seem to never go according to plan, you know?
We're ready.
Yeah.
Like I joked when we walked in here, I'm like, I'm just not going to go back. Like I just am just going to set up over here, like in this empty spot. We're just going to hang out here and do admin work on
Just let them build it around you.
Right.
Right? Just set your spot and just let them build it around you. It'll be good. So, well, hey, welcome to another week of Midweek Motivation. If you're not already a part of our group, you can text the word MOTIVATE to 540-900-3838. I will tell you, I practiced that number multiple times this morning with my wife because normally I have a big old screen that tells me what to say. And I don't have that today. I didn't realize how dependent I was on that. Actually, it was last month when we were on with One Roanoke. I totally fumbled that number. Couldn't remember it. It's the easiest number on the planet. Like the number of numbers that I remember for no good reason, and I can't remember that one. So apparently that's what happens after you turn 30. But that's where we're at. But as you can tell, like I said, we are at the future site of the Blue Ridge Women's Center. You guys are getting ready to make a move and get a whole lot more space. Still be really centrally located to serve everybody in Roanoke, all the clients you need to serve in the Valley and all abroad and from. I won't steal your thunder. I'll let you guys talk about that. But this is our next month of our Undivided tour. So I'm not going to steal Megan's thunder. I'm just going to take it away, unlike Carly usually does. I'm going to let Megan take it away.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot to talk about today. I think I've got some of my friends sitting at the table with us today. Ladies that are special to me and special to our church and have really special testimonies. So you guys know by now, if you've been watching, what we do on the Undivided tour. We go out to other churches and other organizations that just partner together in our area to move the gospel forward. So we do this, not for us, but to give you guys a voice and to give a platform for some of our friends and partners to be able to talk about what you're doing, what God is doing through you. So, I think we can just kind of start with Lindsay and Ann. they're from the Blue Ridge Women's Center, obviously, and so I'll let them introduce themselves a little more and just talk about, what's the mission and vision of the Blue Ridge Women's Center, and what has God put on your heart right now for the future of this organization? Because we know that the topics that you ladies deal with every day are really not easy, and they're highly debated in our culture right now. So, what are some challenges as well as you talk? What are some of the challenges that you've faced, and how has God helped you to overcome those things?
You want to go first?
Sure. Well, I'm Ann Russell. I'm the CEO, and the center is very much a part of who I am. And I love it. I love my job. I love everything about it. But we exist to come alongside women and men who are making pregnancy decisions while offering them the hope of Jesus Christ. And that's really important, because for a while we had mission drift, and we knew we needed to get back to what the most important thing was. And the people who come in our building, many of them are hurting very deeply, and they're coming, unsure about what they want to do with their pregnancy, scared, and we just want to show them Jesus. And knowing that we'd like to see them leave and choose life, but choose abundant life through Christ. And so we are offering all of our services free of charge to them, in order to let them know how much they're loved and how valuable they are.
I'm Lindsay Ward Callahan. I'm the development director at the center, and it's been really incredible. I came on board in 2022 just to see what the Lord has done at the center in the past couple of years, and just the Blue Ridge Women's Center was founded in prayer. Like, it was a group of women in the early 80s who were watching the abortion rate in Roanoke continue to rise, and they were grieved and they were really hurt watching this happen. And they were like, what can we do? And so they got together in somebody's living room, and they had littles running around, and they got together in somebody's living room and they started praying. And the Lord started giving them okay, now you can do this and then do this. And he would provide each step of all the things that were needed. And before you know it, they're opening up a facility on Williamson Road. And it opened in 1984. So this is our 40th year officially serving women in the Roanoke Valley who are undecided about pregnancy. And, there was a moment that the founding mothers had where they were like, we could go with this model, but this model takes the gospel out of it. And we can meet their physical needs, and we can focus our attention on that. Or we can go with this model, which is meeting their physical needs, and that is the open door to actually meet their spiritual needs. So that's been really incredible, getting to know those women who started this decades ago and hear their hearts, and then they get to watch the Lord bring the next generation along to do this work.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've actually never heard that story about how the Blue Ridge Women's Center started. So, and as you were talking and I was listening, it sounds like that the Lord is still doing that today. The things that he was doing for those women through prayer, he's continuing to answer prayers and provide so many opportunities for you guys right now as well. So as we sit in these chairs that possibly those ladies could have been sitting in because they're so vintage, but in fashion right now.
Yeah.
We talked about that too
on trend.
earlier. Yeah, completely on trend. But where was I going with that? Anyway, what is that? What's one of those opportunities, which I see is this building, and how did this come about, and this place where we're sitting? What's your vision for it?
Well, that's a wonderful story, because, we had an opportunity to possibly open a second location next door to Planned Parenthood, but we just couldn't gain any traction on it. And I would say, God, you would think you want us next door to Planned Parenthood, but it just wasn't happening. And in the meantime, we were busting at the seams. So it was either add on to where we are, which really cannot happen. There's not enough space for that. Or get a new place. And I happened to be talking to a friend on the phone who had been kind of helping me try to navigate through that other building. And I said, it's not going to happen. We've outgrown where we are, and we really need to find a bigger space. And he said, my dad is selling his building. And I knew that building was this building. And so that was on a Thursday. On a Monday, I came to look. On a Wednesday, I either had the board or the leadership team. And on a Thursday, it was Thursday and Wednesdays and Thursday, I had other people coming in here. And it was probably a couple of weeks. And we had prayed about what should we offer. And so we came in with an offer. And they countered for exactly what we said we would pay. So God had really blessed us to have some extra funds in order to be able to purchase the building. Megan, God has been in every step. There has not been one single hiccup with any of it. You can just clearly see the hand of God in this whole process, providing this building for us, for the needs that we have. With the growth in staff and volunteers and in the clients that we serve as well.
That's so awesome.
We've seen a huge increase in clients, and we literally cannot hire another employee. We don't have anywhere to put them. They'd be sitting on somebody's lap. And so we really need the extra space, and this building is providing us double the amount of space that we have, and we will be able to serve double the number of clients that we serve every single week. And so we have seen the increase go, just with the Lord bringing women and men into the center each week. And so last year we saw a 40% increase in clients. That's huge. Wow. That's insane. And so we've expanded the staff to the ability that we can to serve and to meet the needs, but we just don't have any more space. And so we feel that it's a really just uncomfortable. And so this feels like freedom to be able to come in here and to actually grow into this space, because it's not like this space is just going to immediately meet our needs. We actually have room to grow into it.
Yeah.
So as you were talking about that, I'm envisioning all of the activity that's going to be happening in this space. So maybe not everybody knows exactly what services that you guys provide. Many people do, but I think that there's some new services that have come along, and particularly for men. So tell me about what are the actual services that will be happening here, and will there be new ones or expanded services, or you'll still be doing mainly the same things that you're doing now?
So first and foremost, we do lab quality pregnancy testing. We do limited ultrasounds. We do limited STI testing. That is one of the expansions that we're looking at, in doing full panels and treatment of STI. We do offer abortion pill reversal, and we have material resources, classes that clients can take and earn points to be able to shop in our baby store. There's also other organizations in the community that we will allow them to earn points for taking classes outside of the center as well. We do have the men's services now. What we realized is we were doing them in a disservice by having them wait in the waiting room. You're as much as telling them that they don't have a voice. Wow. And they do. And their voice is the loudest voice for that woman and the decision that she's going to make. The father of the baby has the greatest impact in that decision. So we knew that we needed to be doing something for him, that he needed to be able to talk to somebody to process what's happening. And it has been phenomenal to see how this has impacted some of the men who've come in. We had one guy who came in, he came back without the woman and was asking questions about wanting to know where there was a church, wanting some other information on other services, job help. That was just amazing that he felt he could come back to us because we provided that service for him as a dad. We
He
made
felt
him
valued.
very valued.
Yeah.
Exactly. What am I missing, Lindsay?
Nothing. That's all great. I mean,
Yeah, and we have 2 medical directors, and they very much would like to see us add to our services in the future once we have more space.
I think all of that is, to summarize all of these things that we do, at the end of the day, we are hope dealers. And when a woman or a man walks in, we say to them, you can do this, and we will help you do this. Whereas abortion, we don't benefit financially from their decision whatsoever. In fact, it cost us. But abortion providers benefit financially from their decision. And they say, you know what, you are out of hope, and we'll sell you an abortion. And that's what they say to them. And we say, no, we will help you, and we'll help you identify help. But then if you can't identify help within your own family or the partner or whatever, we will be that help for you, and we will walk with you through this process, and that you can do that. And oh, by the way, we'd love to tell you about Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's one of the best things I love about organizations like Blue Ridge Women's Center, because especially as Christians, one of the biggest criticisms in the abortion debate is, well, all you want to do is save the babies and then leave them out there on their own. Well, that's not the case, right? Certainly that's been the case for other organizations, but I love that you are not only stopping and saying, okay, there's another choice, right? You don't have to choose this, right? You can choose life. And by the way, when you do, right, here's how we're going to help you. And I think that's so great. Not only are you helping women, but also, I mean, as a guy, right? I mean, that means a whole lot, because as a guy, I mean, we have 4 kids. So, and we've been married 15 years, and I've felt incredibly helpless, the entire time that she's been pregnant. I hate her being pregnant, because as a dad and as a father, like,
My husband says the same thing.
you can't do anything, right? Guys, I'm just going to speak for you out there. I mean, we can't do anything, right? And I can only imagine how it feels, as a mother. But I mean, as a father, especially that first time, like, you have no idea what's going on, right? I mean, by the 4th time, I think I was starting to figure it out. But I mean, you have no idea. So to have an organization that, even especially at a crisis moment in your life, depending on, you guys see people in all walks of life, all sorts of situations. So to know that you guys are hope dealers is a great term, by the way. I'm definitely going to steal that. We're going to find it. Carly already hashtagged it in the chat there. But to know that you guys are not just saving kids from abortion, right? That's great. But what would it mean if you guys didn't take that other step, right, and then add the gospel to it? So I love that you guys are looking at it holistically, right? Not just protecting life, but also abundant life, like you said. I think it's fantastic.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because it is one of the things that we do here is all you care about is saving the baby. And that's absolutely not true. What a lot of people don't realize is that we actually offer hope and support for women who have had an abortion. We let them know, if that is their decision, we want you to come back. We do realize that many of these women, they suffer in silence through years and years before they will even come forward for help. But we do offer that. We want them to know that it's not the unforgivable sin, that there is hope, and there is forgiveness, and there is healing, and that's through Christ.
Yeah, Lindsay gave us some flowers to put on the back of our bathroom stall doors for the women's restroom at church. And every time I go in there, I just take note, and there's people have taken them off. So that just shows that, even in our church congregations, there are women that may be struggling with that, you're there, you want to be there to help them through that.
And when we talk in churches, like we really, I think like one of our greatest messages is we stand on the truth of Scripture that life begins at conception and that every person was a thought and God's idea, because his Scripture says that before he created them, and that he's the creator and he knits us together in our mother's womb. And then immediately, but also, if you have made that decision, there is hope, healing, and forgiveness in the name of Jesus. And so we always, when we are talking, say both of those messages, because we know there are people in the congregation who are listening and thinking, well, you know, like I have the secret. And I think there is a misconception, even like coming into this a couple years ago, just this misconception and this narrative in our culture that like the pro-life industry and pro-life movement is led by like men and men who are trying to control women's bodies. The pro-life movement is actually led primarily by post-abortive women who have made that decision and say, I don't want that for anybody else. I went through that. It was horrible. It was the worst experience. And I actually don't want someone else to have to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great, I think, way to introduce our friend here, Caitlin, our very special friend Caitlin, who you have been highly affected by the Blue Ridge Women's Center and the services that they offer, and have even become a voice for this movement in a lot of ways. So I think God chose you specifically
Amen.
For that, and used your testimony. So this is Caitlin Perry, and she's also one of our Parkway family as well. And that's kind of part of this testimony that we're going to try to work our way through, because there's so many elements to Caitlin's testimony. So I know I'll let you kind of introduce yourself a little bit more and tell us about your family. And then Lindsay, I think, is a big part of how we all came together to be a part of your story. So she can share about that as well.
Yeah. So my name's Caitlin, like Megan said, and my husband's name is Aaron, and this will be number 6 for us. We have 6 children together. Some are adopted and some are biological. So I first got introduced to the Blue Ridge Women's Center back in 2021, the end of 2021. And I was pregnant with my daughter, Aubrey. And I thought that abortion was the option because my husband was in active addiction. I was struggling with finances, jobs. We already had 4 kids at the time. It was just a lot. So we chose to go to Planned Parenthood, and we thought we were like exploring our options and kind of seeing what we could do. And it turned out to be like a race for time to get that abortion pill down. So I did. And then I quickly changed my mind the next day and decided I couldn't go through with that. That's not how I was raised. That's not what the gospel says. That's not what I'm supposed to do. And I don't believe that it was meant for me. So I found Heartbeat International's call line where you can speak with nurses, and they give you a center that's close to you in your area that does abortion pill reversal. At that time, the center was located in Lynchburg, so I had to make a drive. But they connected me with the Roanoke office, and I've been connected with them ever since. They couldn't
You're stuck with us.
Yeah,
They can't get rid of you.
they
now,
couldn't.
right?
Like I said, we're now on number 6. I'm going through another pregnancy with them. They couldn't kick me out if they wanted to.
Yeah. Well, it's just really incredible. We had, so she was an abortion pill reversal client we served in 2022. And so come time for our annual banquet, Night of Life, we're looking for a story. And so we were praying specific things. Like we were praying particularly for someone who we had a high impact on, but also the father was involved, and the father had a story because we had just launched our men's services. And so we wanted to be able to connect the story and all of that. So the Lord was like, here, Caitlin and Aaron. And which was incredible. And there was even some warfare. I felt like even in the beginning, like trying to get to you guys, and I was like, is this going to work? Is this going to work, Lord? Are you? And the Lord was like, no, seriously, here. And so they ended up being our story for our Night of Life that year. And she came up on stage. They both came up on stage and had baby Aubrey Lynn with them, and proving that abortion pill reversal works. Like, here is this healthy, vibrant, newborn, like, little baby, and I mean, now she's a 2-year-old and she's very vibrant and running around, all the things. And the Lord just like wove our stories together because, okay, so I sent her story after we did that story and we showed it at Night of Life, sent it to Heartbeat International and said, hey, just so you know, here is the result of like what your network does.
Yeah.
And so they recognize like just how huge her story is and what the Lord has done. And so then she actually was on the cover of their abortion pill reversal calendar for that year. So you were literally a poster child.
Yeah, we were on the cover, and that was great. And then they even took it a step further and invited Lindsay and I, the Blue Ridge Women's Center, and my family to come to Congress and speak in front of Congress. I think it was the following year.
Yeah. It was this January.
Yeah, in January. So we did that, and we talked to the caucus there, and that was it was very interesting. It was good though. I mean, everything. I think we really made a strong impact. I think the story, and I had Aubrey there, so you can't deny what's in front of you.
Right.
Yeah. She's phenomenal. Like, she's underselling. She's phenomenal at sharing her story. And I mean, here's the thing. I'm sitting in this room and they have like, one professional speaker after another. Okay. And everyone's sitting down, they're like taking notes and, whatever. And then Caitlin starts talking and everyone stops. And they put their pen down, they put their paper down, and they actually actively listen. And like, I have chills just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Listening.
The room like got quiet.
It like stopped.
Yeah.
And then, the only thing we could hear was Aubrey Lynn in the background, in the back of the room, like being a 2-year-old. And I just thought, wow, like they sit here and they listen to these professional speakers and these leaders and all the things, but it is that story, that testimony of what the Lord has done that catches their attention, and they know there's something different.
Yeah, there's something different about a testimony and a story like that. It's not facts, it's not figures, it's not statistics. It's see this, you know. I mean, that's great. I mean, when we played your video at Parkway, like we first were talking about it in our worship planning meeting. Carly threw it out to us like, "Hey, here's this video. We got to play it." And we're very time conscious in how we plan things. And first thing I did is I looked at the time. I was like, we don't have time for a 5-minute video. And Carly's like, just watch it. And I watched it. I was like, all right, we got to play it. And man, I'll tell you what,
it brings tears to your eyes.
Both services. I mean, you could feel the tears in the room, and the sniffles. And
I've heard it so many times, but I'm boohooing because I'm like, praise God, you guys showed the whole thing. You really have to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, you have to hear the whole thing. So to kind of follow up on what we went through, the Blue Ridge Women's Center offered us like so much hope during that time. We did weekly ultrasounds. Lynchburg provided me with my medication that I needed for 12 weeks. And we did the Bright Course Parenting classes. Yes, thank you. So we did the parenting classes, and we earned points, and we went shopping at the store, and we're doing that this time around too. So we got everything that we need for baby boy, and my husband actually participated. He wanted to know more about the men's services, which was a great time because they had just launched their men's services. So we did that, and then it kind of just fell into place because when I came to the Blue Ridge Women's Center, I I'd always been involved in church ever since I was little. My grandfather was a pastor, but we kind of like drifted away from the church. So I had no intentions of really getting involved with church again at the time that I met the Blue Ridge Women's Center, but God just laid it on our heart. And my husband was like, you know what, we should like try out some different churches and get back into the routine. And I'm like, yeah, we really should. So I reached out to Lindsay and I reached out to Ann, and I've just became friends with these women over the past 2 years. And Megan herself, once I met her at Parkway, it's a great support system. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, we're looking for a church. And they did not say go to Parkway. Although
we wouldn't be offended.
Yeah.
That's okay if you do.
They did not say that. They were very like, yeah, you should visit churches and you should see where you're comfortable at, and you should see what suits your whole family's needs. Do they have services for men, women, children? Yeah. We're looking for the whole dynamic here. So we ended up at Parkway, and that's where we felt most comfortable. And we started going in January. My husband got saved in March, and I got baptized in later March. We did the Freedom Conference. We did the Freedom Group together. We did all of that. So now we're working on our second group to go to and just kind of see what God holds in store for us.
It's really cool. Like, you had sent me an email about the story tour. So that was like fresh on my mind. You had said something. I said, why don't you go to the story tour?
Yeah, that's how it all started.
And then somebody else from your church says something about the story tour to Aaron separately. Yeah. So then they end up at the story tour.
Yeah.
And that was like the impetus of all of that.
That's where it all started. And since then, like, we've just met amazing people at Parkway. We have amazing friends from the Blue Ridge Women's Center, some that go to Parkway. We have been getting involved in lots of activities with Parkway, and it's kept our family really busy. And my husband is now clean and sober and continues that to this day through the help of people at Parkway.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's just like a guided light the entire time. God has just been with us, like Ann was saying, with their project. God has been with my project every step of the way. Just there's not a step that he hasn't been involved in.
Yeah. And you know what's cool is every time I hear stories like this, I always wonder, so obviously God's using your story already, right? So God's using your story just to, one, for me, until I heard your story, I didn't know abortion pill reversal was even a thing.
Nobody does.
I had no idea. I'm 35 years old, never heard of that.
You're right.
That's not advertised anywhere out there, right? I had no idea. So one, your story, I'm sure, is educating, other people, but also giving people hope. And what I always wonder is, when I hear stories like yours is, okay, I see how God's using it now. Like, how is God going to use this a generation from now, right? I mean, so 1984, Blue Ridge Women's Center started, and here we are 40 years later. What's God going to do in the next 40 years? I mean, obviously God's used stories over the past 40 years, and now he's using your story. And I always look forward to, I kind of sit back and wait. It's like, I can't wait to see what God does next, because, I mean, maybe there's somebody listening right now that maybe not live, maybe somebody will watch this later who's been in your situation and thought like, or maybe it's a man who's been in that situation and thought like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is my only option. And I think it's so great, because what I hope they're hearing is, there is more than one option, right? And there's a better option, right? 100% better option. So I love that not only are you telling your story, but that the Blue Ridge Women's Center is continuing to share your story and giving you a platform to share your story with people and really give hope. That'll never get old. I can't wait to see what else God does.
I know. I can't wait to see what transpires with abortion pill reversal, and like just how big it grows. And because a lot of people, like you said, they don't know.
Yep.
I mean, even my husband was like, what are you doing? He's like, 1 minute you're doing an abortion and the next minute you're telling me the baby's healthy and everything's okay. And I'm like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. It's incredible that I think about, like, Aubrey Lynn has a story.
Absolutely.
Like, what you have a story, she has a story. Like, what is the Lord going to do with her, through her?
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the Lord does with her. Like, when she was born and she came out with 10 fingers and 10 toes, we were like, this is great. Everything worked out. Because we were worried, that something could have happened when I took that abortion pill. But it didn't. God didn't let that happen. The enemy did not win that fight. Yeah. So we were lucky and blessed to have such a sweet little girl, and she, like Lindsay said, has her own story, and I can't wait to see, and I hope that God continues to work in her life, and I hope that she grows in the church, and that's what we're working on as parents now.
That's so great.
And your family's also growing a little bit more.
Yeah, we're growing by 10 fingers and 10 more toes.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother testimony in itself, what, God has done through the pregnancy that you're in right now. So I don't know how much you want to share about that, but I think we have, about 6 or 7 more minutes until we wrap up. So just want to give you that opportunity if you'd like
definitely
to share briefly.
Definitely.
Because God has done more.
Yeah, there's more to the story. Yeah. So I found out we were pregnant while my husband was away in treatment. So he had been in the process of getting clean and, had some struggles and some setbacks and decided to go to treatment. So I found out that I was pregnant while he was in California back in March. And we had gotten pregnant right before he left. And we were just like, wow, this is another miracle. It's like God just keeps sending things our way. And he just makes it happen every time. And I had went to the doctor while he was away, and they did an ultrasound. My pregnancy test was positive. Blood work was good. Did an ultrasound, and they told me that I had what was called an empty sac. And they basically explained it to me that there was a gestational sac, but there was no baby. So I went to the doctor again for a second opinion. And my husband was like, yeah, we're not going to take that for an answer. So went to the doctor for a second opinion, and they said the same thing. Went back 2 weeks later to a different doctor. They said the same thing. So I'm like, I reach out to Lindsay, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. And she's like, you should pray. So we start praying, and we're just working on it with the Lord, and it was a very stressful time. And I go to the doctor 2 weeks later, back to the original doctor that I had saw, and we do another ultrasound, and there's the baby. So they're like, we've never seen this before. And I'm like, yeah, me either, but I'm so glad it's there. So everything looks good. We've done ultrasound since then. It's a boy, so we get our first boy together. Super excited about that. But yeah, it was a trial. It was a trial, but you know what? Without trials, you wouldn't have a testimony. So
Amen.
Yeah. I feel like that's just God showing off. I love when he does stuff like that. It's like, all right, I'm going to save this baby, right? And if that's all he did, like, high five, way to go, God, you're good. And then he's like, oh, by the way, here's another one. And it's a boy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I just love
it
that.
was like a double whammy there. We were like, wow, we get our first boy together. And this is just great. So.
And what I love about this whole thing is that we keep finding connections, all of us. And, so many people are part of this story. And that's one of the reasons why we do what we're doing right now, is just to give an opportunity for people to see how the body of Christ can work together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How churches, how individuals, how ministries, Heartbeat International and Blue Ridge Women's Center came together, Parkway, Caitlin's family, the rehab that your husband has been in. Like, there's so many people and entities that come together that God brings together to make that testimony, And so I just love, that's what I love, is to be a small part of, how God just brings people together as the undivided church.
Yeah.
So that's why we call this the Undivided Tour. How are we doing on time?
We're fantastic. We got about 5 minutes left. So I'm curious, Ann and Lindsay, if you guys can just walk us through just real quickly, a little bit kind of what are some of the services you guys are going to be able to offer here? I know we touched on it briefly, but just give us in like 2 minutes or less. I know. Good luck. What's a brief overview of kind of some of the services you guys offer at the Blue Ridge Women's Center and how people can get in touch with you guys?
Well, we'll continue to do what we've been doing for sure, but we one of the things is we'll have a much larger classroom to be able to do in-person classes. Our baby store will be probably at least three
awesome.
times the size of what we have now. Like I said, our medical directors, they're wanting to maybe add some medical services as well. One of the doctors is going to start doing APR starting July.
And for those of us that don't know what APR is,
it's abortion pill reversal.
hey, there it is. Good.
Yes.
I wasn't connecting that.
Abortion pill reversal. And so that's basically, if I can just share real quickly, it is after a woman has taken that first of the abortion pill. It's a 2-pill series. They've taken the first and they have regrets. It is possible to reverse it by just introducing progesterone, because that's what that first pill does, is it stops the production of progesterone. But they have to have only taken that first pill, and time is of the essence.
Right.
So there's been 0 incidents of any birth defects, because you're just reintroducing a natural hormone that is found in pregnancy. So that will increase as well. She will do that. And we want to increase our STI testing and treatment. And eventually we would like to do more women's health as well, to really be able to offer that very early prenatal care as much as possible.
Yeah.
It's really incredible to see. I just want to reiterate, people, think of mission fields as far away, but a parachurch ministry, the Blue Ridge Women's Center, we are a mission field. Like, this is an opportunity to come serve, to share the gospel. When you invest in us, you are investing in the spread of the gospel. And so I think that that's important for people, because I think people think it's so far away, but no, it's like right here in our city. It's on Williamson Road. It's going to be on Elm Avenue. That's important. And our goal is to serve her. And then, we have started this program, working on this program called Making Life Disciples, to be able to get her in a local body, because we know that was not God's design for the Blue Ridge Women's Center and other parachurch ministries to be the long-term answer to people's discipleship. He designed the church for that. And it naturally happened with Caitlin, but we do have a program that we have started called Making Life Disciples that we have adopted, and to be able to get our clients from our center into local bodies of believers. And so that, because you guys do the long-term discipleship, like she said, she's in the recovery program, all the things. So that is a goal, and that is something that we are working toward and expanding more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. We talk about how the Blue Ridge Women's Center, not only do they save the babies, but they also give resources for after you have the baby, while you're carrying the baby, what are we going to do with this baby? And they certainly followed through with that with me, providing resources. Even to this day, I'm currently unemployed, and I still call Lindsay, and I'm like, what do I do? So, I mean, it's just like, I've made great friends. My husband's made great friends. They're like family to us now. And they introduced us to Parkway to give that long-term friendship and that long-term family environment. And that's where we like to call home.
Yeah, and we're glad that you do. We're pretty proud of that. So
We kind of love having y'all around.
Yeah.
And Miss Ann, too.
Well, hey, thank you guys so much for having us. Thanks for being on. Lindsay, that's 2 months in a row. One more, and I think you're a regular.
I'm not coming back. I swear.
But thank you guys so much. We love the work you guys are doing at the Blue Ridge Women's Center, and go support the Blue Ridge Women's Center. Share this. Somebody in your life needs this. Somebody in your life or at least knows somebody that needs this. So make sure you share this. Thanks so much for joining us for another week of Midweek Motivation. Have a great week and stay motivated.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, when you're feeling down and motivated in the midweek, we got the guys here to make your life complete. Little John, Brandon, Cody, Carly, they're coming in to keep you motivated all week. New episode, same time every week. Don't gotta wait long for the next one to release. So don't go away, sit down, take a seat, enjoy Midweek Motivation with John and Carly. Hey.
Midweek Motivation.
Let's go!